Okay, this is probably the quietest place I can possibly find in Newcastle on a Saturday afternoon. So what we're going to do is I'm going to talk through a process that I use to release resistance. There's going to be a lot of these videos because I'm probably going to come up with a different process every time because I use a lot of different processes. Oh, there you go. Now, so what I do at work is I use a karate chop point and I'll release using like a little bit of emotional freedom technique, affirmation, just acknowledge the resistance and let it go. What I do at home is more Sedona method, so it's a process of accepting the resistance. It's the same process ultimately, but there's a different emphasis. So with Sedona method, it's more mental. There's no physical tapping involved. It's a process of accepting mentally that there's resistance there, or that there's a feeling there of fear or anxiety or anger or whatever it is, and then just accepting it, focusing on the fear for a few seconds, maybe 5 or 10 seconds, focusing on the anger for 5 or 10 seconds, just to target what you want to resist. And if you can make it specific, if it's fear that's coming from lack of self-worth, feeling inadequate, maybe feeling of inadequacy that might come from childhood, or might come from school, or might come from college or university, or whatever it is, might come from your work situation. If you can get to that place where you're feeling the fear, and then you accept it, and you just let go of it. Is it the right time to let go? Yes. If I could let go, would I? Yes. When would I let it go? Now. That kind of questioning process works pretty much. Once you've trained into it and you accept that the process works, then you can use it very effectively in a lot of different situations. So my resistance at the moment is to finding a better place to live. I'm in a place that's not really very good for me. I've got no working toilets, and the kitchen ceiling collapsed a little while ago. So there's a lot of things going on with my accommodation that aren't particularly good, and I haven't moved yet. So my issue is my resistance to moving. So I'm just going to talk through that. I can't tap because I'm holding the camera, but I'll talk through the process that I use. So I use a karate chop point on my left hand, and I tap with the fingers on my right hand normally. This is a very kind of truncated version of emotional freedom technique, but it's enough to let go of something, and it's a couple of minutes work. So the idea is, even though I've got this resistance to moving, even though my physical environment at home is not what I'm looking for, even though I'm feeling stuck in my physical environment, right? No, you're right. So even though I feel this resistance to moving and I feel stuck in my physical environment, I wholly and completely love and honour and accept myself. It's words like that. You can use whatever words work for you, but wholly and completely love, honour and accept myself work for me. Those are the words I like. So I accept the resistance. I'm accepting that the situation's not as good as it could be, but I'm accepting the resistance as well. And just take a breath. You might feel you're breathing deeper as you do this process. I usually feel it deeper, and that tells me that I'm releasing something of the anxiety from my chest and from my stomach. When my breath becomes deeper, when my breathing becomes deeper, it's telling me about what's happening. And that's what tells me that I've let go of something. That's what tells me that I've released something that was creating resistance. So that's a good thing. I can feel it. So I'm pretty much done with the process. Or you can continue. Just repeat the process. If you do the measuring at the beginning and at the end, you can see the difference in the number that you come up with in whatever measuring scale you're using. I tend to just use the deepening of my breath as a measure. But you can use whatever technique you like, whatever works for you. If you're very analytical, you're going to want numbers. If you're kinesthetic like I am, then the breath deepening is enough for me. It tells me something's happened, and that's all I'm really interested in. As long as something's happening, something's been let go of, something's moving, then it allows me to do the next thing, which is look for the flat. My process has been, I've been looking for flats, but I haven't actually viewed any as yet. And the landlords have been reluctant to give me appointments for some reason, and there's been delays. So hopefully this process will speed up a bit now. My enthusiasm's, I'm quite there now, I think. So I'm ready to move, and what I need is a friendly landlord and a moving date and time to produce a deposit and the first month's rent. So I think I can probably get to that place now. So that's it for now. So it's my personal process, but I hope it might benefit somebody along the way.